There's something about a well-hit shot.
And now it's right in his wheelhouse. Good position where he can attack the pin.
Yeah, he has all those options now. That ball's sitting up. You can bring it in high. You can bring it in low. The choice is yours.
This is a good-looking shot. Chance to close out the front side here with a birdie. Frank, this is a nice run right here.
Oh, yeah, and this is very makeable, too. Excellent chance for 4 in a row.
Frank, that's what you want to do. Good lag putt.
Yeah, they can't all go in.
Been pretty good all day from this distance, just trying to take care of business. Well, it was bound to come to an end at some point. Drops just one shot after that terrific stretch of birdies. Take a look now at the 10th hole, Frank. Par 4, 462 yards.
Yeah, this one can play a lot of different distances. And the reason why is if you can sneak a driver to catch the downslope, it can run all the way down. You can have just a wedge in here. If you're not as fortunate and you leave it hanging up on that hill, it plays a good 200 yards for your second.
Frank, he is one of the longest hitters in the game, but at some point, you have to hit a fairway.
Yeah, he's certainly not the straightest. I think that was the bit you're going to put in the middle.
Early part of this back nine and a good approach shot. Now we'll have this for birdie.
It's that sneaky distance.
Frankie took plenty of time on this birdie putt. He looked at it from 3 different angles. He forgot one very important ingredient.
Yeah, pace. You can definitely fall in love with the line, even with approach shots as well, but obviously we see it more on putting.
This would give him a bogey. That takes him to 1 under on the day. Frank, it's only 379 yards, a par 4. You thinking birdie here at the 11th?
You would think for that distance, no, but you'd take 4 here. It's a stringent tee shot. The fairway doesn't really look pleasing to the eye. It looks like it moves out to the left, but that's exactly where those bunkers are. So more often than not, we see players hitting out of the right rough. And back in 1994, this is where the playoff finished with Lauren Roberts and Ernie Els.
That may have been a bit too much to ask for there, that distance putt, Frank.
Yeah, it's fine to be greedy before you hit the putt, but after you've hit it, 2 from that distance is fine.
He's going to beat himself up on the way to the next tee. You don't miss those putts. Well, you could see he's just disgusted with that effort. Just a tap in to finish the hole. And he makes it for a bogey here. Well, Frank, the par 5 12th here at Oakmont, it's a lot of golf bowling, 667 yards.
It's the hardest par 5 I've ever seen or played that doesn't have water. It starts with that tee shot. The whole fairway slopes left to right. Just to get the ball on the fairway, you've got to draw the ball against the slope. The same problem exists with the second and the third shot. Oh, and it gets a good kick. It's only in the first cut. That's not too bad.
Frank, I like the way he sort of starts his swing a little bit on the outside and then drops it right on plane.
Should be safely on deck.
How good was that, Frank, from the rough?
Oh, that's amazing. That's a master class in short game.
Well, that was a bold effort at eagle there, Frank.
Oh, you got to applaud him there, though. You're going for eagle. There's no way he was going to leave it short.
Well, Frank, it's our job to get excited.
You can't when you leave it short, though.
I'm sad.
He's making my job hard.
Routine stuff for Rory, that's a par. Well, Frank, what about this par 3 13th? Measures 183 yards.
It has a little bit of a crescent-shaped green, but it looks like the green should shape that way, but the actual contours of the green go in the opposite direction. The only good thing about that is chances are you've got an uphill putt.
Good, clean contact and a nice result, and a chance for birdie coming up.
This is that awkward length.
Good try, just didn't quite read the break, Frank.
It shouldn't be a problem, you'd think, cleaning up here for par.
You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. Rich Lerner back with you at the 14th hole at Oakmont. And this is a hole that offers up a pretty good scoring opportunity, a short par 4 at 358 yards.
Well, it was almost like that's what he wanted to do, but why would you want it to run over the back?
Shot now from the rough. Frank, what's he facing?
Well, the lie first and foremost. If it's sitting down, then obviously you're not going to get a very good contact. Nothing wrong with coming up a little bit short of the green. Problem is turning one mistake into another.
Those are painful from that distance.
Yeah, just another one added to the card. Big mistake.
That's a par, and that keeps the scorecard clean, still even for the round. Here at the 15th, a long par 4 at 499 yards. Frank, what are you looking to do off the tee?
The tee shot here is very similar to the one back. He goes after it like he is here.
Wow, what impact. Absolutely crushed it.
Smoked that one.
A great way to start a hole, nicely placed in the fairway. Ready for his second shot, trying to knock it on the green. On the green, and looking at a birdie opportunity. Just want to nestle this one down to within a couple of feet. Speed wasn't bad on that long putt, but the read wasn't very good. Shouldn't be a problem here, but not a formality either. Struggling a bit with the flat stick, and a drop shot here at the 15th hole. Just a couple of feet, just a shade over par, +1. Frank, this is a point in the round where you really need to summon your best stuff. Par 3 of 231 yards. You know the pressure's building. We're at the 16th hole, and you have a long iron in hand. You can't flinch. You can't take it halfway back and go. This has to be the complete swing, and you have to really have the nerve on this shot.
Yeah, this shot has to be hitting right out of the button, that's for sure. One thing to consider, though, in the back of your mind, it's always better putting back uphill. Well, uphill is actually from the back of the screen. So you actually can be a little braver on 16 than what you might think standing on that tee, because a little long is better than a little short.
That's how you maintain momentum. Make those putts for par. Now on to the 17th hole, and Frank, in so many ways, this determined the outcome of the 2007 U.S. Open. Jim Furyk had his issues here. It's just 313 yards, but it can really play with a player's mind.
It's such an unusual par 4 for a U.S. Open, plus also where it comes in the round, because the options, and there's only really two, is like a 4 or 5 iron. You sneak it up the right side, or you take a driver directly at the green. You would think there's something in between, but really there isn't. And that's why, to your point, it stopped Jim Furyk, it stopped Tiger Woods, it allowed Cabrera to win. It also helped Ernie Els, who went with the driver option there back in 1994. So 17, it's short, it's tempting, it is at a U.S. Open, but it is still demanding.
And he's made the green. Rory McIlroy looking to take advantage of this putt.
That's a cruel game.
Just a little tap in here. In for bogey, now sitting at 2 over for the round. Great finishing hole here at Oakmont, Frank, the 18th.
I remember back in 1994, this was the last hole in a US Open ever played by Arnold Palmer. You couldn't pick a better finishing hole to win a championship or say farewell.
Great strike and a great result. Sitting up, good chance to attack the flag. Let's see what McIlroy.
This looks like it's going to find the target.
Excellent shot to within 10 feet. Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. Frankie took plenty of time on this birdie putt. He looked at it from 3 different angles. He forgot one very important ingredient.
Yeah, pace. You can definitely fall in love with the line, even with approach shots as well, but obviously we see it more on putting.
This is EA Sports coverage of the PGA Tour. Well, it's truly a pleasure to be in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're in University Place, Washington, and the golf course is relatively new to golf fans, Chambers Bay, and what a magnificent-looking golf course.
And it's building up quite a reputation very, very quickly, and the reason why, well-designed, good test for any level of play. There's enough options out there, enough long holes, enough short holes. So pick your poison, really, but make sure you're on your game, because Chambers Bay, it'll test anyone to the limit. I've seen some long tee shots, but it's the advantage to tee that ball up, get it up there quickly, get the wind behind you. It's amazing how far you can hit it.
Really good distance control there, playing well to his strengths. Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Just singes the edge, Frank.
Yeah, but at least he's burning the edges. You know you're hitting good putts.
Par for McIlroy, but you're just waiting for that moment when he hits that accelerator and pulls away. Now to the second hole here at Chambers Bay, and Frank, it is not overly long. Where's the trouble here?
Well, 281 yards really to the big long bunker that goes all the way to the green. So as long as you can just go for a little extra.
Just amazing what they're able to do with that golf swing. Hit it so far at that size. Not overly big, but man, can really move it a long ways. That's one of the more depressing sights in golf. You've hit a good one, and then it just sucks back too much spin off the green. I'll tell you what, Phil the Thrill, Phil Mickelson could not have done it any better. What a bunker shot.
Oh, painful lip out. It was a good putt.
Absolutely can't believe it. I thought that thing was stone dead in the center. Did the job right there. At the third tee now, Frank, and what are we staring at here?
This green is anything other than symmetrical, so be very, very cautious on where the flag is. Anything in the middle of the green you can putt to the corners. Well, if you can call them corners, more like ragtails, but beautiful par 3.
So a chance for birdie after another solid approach shot.
It's that sneaky distance.
Well, you're not going to make that putt all the time, but you'd like to at least get it to the hole.
If he keeps putting like that, he's going to be an announcer in no time.
And so just getting started, even par so far. Frank, standing here on the 4th tee at Chambers Bay, you can see what this golf course is all about with those dunes on the left and all that sand down on the right. A lot of trouble here.
Yeah, first hole, Rich, really that bends to the right, but if anything, you want to keep the tee shot down the left side. It's going to give you a better angle to the green. And unlike the 2 previous holes, this fairway slopes to the other direction, to the right.
Now the game's #1 player, Rory McIlroy, ready with his approach. Well, he'll be disappointed with that, no doubt.
Yeah, swing didn't quite look right on that one.
So getting set for a greenside bunker shot. Frank, when I think of the great bunker players in the history of the sport, I think about Gary Player, Seve Ballesteros, whom you knew so well. What did they do that made them so effective on these greenside bunker shots?
They had an attitude for a start that was different. For them, they saw possibilities. And they would imagine the amount of sand. Remember, because this is the only shot in golf where you don't have to hit the ball first. So they would really choose the amount of sand behind the ball, whether that was 1 inch or 2. Aimed the club at that and made sure they followed through.
And that ball is absolutely scorched. Just hit a seed out there. Excellent drive, Frank. Right where you want to be. Frank, what do we have with the approach shot here at the 5th?
Just got to be cognizant of that bunker. That's you can see it there. That's just central front of this green. You've either got to go around it, or if you're good enough, then you go straight over it. But you've got to have a ton of spin on the second shot.
Well, he's not going to be real happy with that. Wow. Getting set now over the putt. Drops it, and he's at even par. Frank, now at the 6th, this appears to be a testing par 4 long one.
It is, but once again, a generous fairway. Just use those mounds down the left as an indicator on your line. Hole bends a little bit to the right. Good tee shot, though, and everything is in front of you.
Oh, my goodness. That is on in 1. Wow. What an incredible shot. And now a putt from 24 feet away. Kind of a tricky read. Not a gimme, but well within his range. He got robbed, Frank.
No, it's like kissing your mother-in-law.
This would give him the par. Still playing even for the day after the par. Frank, this is a daunting challenge. The 7th hole, long par 4. It's over 500 yards.
A huge bunker down the right side that probably runs for a good 200-300 yards. Obviously, that's to be avoided. And then, of course, there's the mounds and the hummocks and the dunes and that on the left side. That's the reason, really, why this hole's called Humpback. But then, a little bit like the golf course, there's only one greenside bunker to be worried about, but enough green left of that.
So the second of the par 4 goes begging, and now I'll have to rely on the short game.
Yeah, but the short game, as we all know, can redeem a lot of mistakes. See if he does it here.
And he's made it onto the green now. He can really get red hot with a putter. Let's see what McIlroy does. Those keep the round going, those par putts. Now to the 8th and a long par 5, Frank.
Fortunately, there's no bunkers, just the dunes either side. The hole looks a little narrow off the tee, but get down there, you're going to realize that's a fairly generous fairway. There's a little bit of mounding in this green, too, that actually slopes it back towards the player. So use that to your advantage.
Well, that's the way you draw it up here at the 8th. You want to get it out there. He's done that, and he's kept it in the fairway. Frank, he could make eagle right here with a really good approach shot.
Yeah, well within his reach too. And Rich, if we just sit back and relax here, I think we're going to see perhaps a very good look at eagle coming up.
Crucial eagle attempt on the way. Frank, I'm not saying he should pull out driver here, but this is a long putt.
Greens are fast though. You never know. Good line, good pace. Might have a chance.
Speed wasn't bad on that long putt, but the read wasn't very good. Frank, this birdie putt is from downtown.
Well, if you want to build a skyscraper, you've got to knock a few of these in.
Came to the putt excited to make birdie. Now, settle for par.
Yeah, little change in the attitude right now. You've let one go. You've got to really knuckle down there and make sure you don't drop a shot. It's important that this one goes in.
You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. Well, Frank, it's our job to get excited.
You can't when you leave it short, though.
I'm sad.
He's making my job hard.
Wow, that was so close, Frank.
Just time to forget that one. I mean, he couldn't hit that much better.
So, with that, 3 over par now for the round. Finishing up our front side here at the 9th, it's a par 3. And Frank, how would you describe this hole?
Well, it's an absolute stunner, really, because of the views. And this is where you realize that links golf, minus trees and minus some of the things we see on other golf courses, can still look absolutely beautiful. But don't look at the scenery too much, because you've got, well over 200 yards here. Even though it's elevated, it still requires a good tee shot. But a little 2 here, and you might just have yourself a good outward 9.
Getting bounced around today. You think the winds have been a factor?
There's no question that's been the biggest problem for the players right now, but still, it's playable. It's not ridiculous. It's not unplayable out there.
What was he thinking there?
I have no earthly idea. Well, that's a little absurd, that, Rich. That shot wasn't that hard, but it's come up well short.
Didn't appear committed through impact. And he's made the green.
It's no snack, though.
So that was a medium-length putt. Speed was right on track, but the read wasn't where it needed to be. Going to have to regroup now after that double bogey. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo, playing Chambers Bay out in the state of Washington in the great northwest of the United States. Frank, let's take a closer look now at the 10th hole.
Well, you can see where you've got to go by virtue of the dunes left and right. This is one of the few greens that is well bunkered around, so you can see it short right, short left, and there's another little bunker just on the left side. So it's a tricky little second shot coming in here.
I mean, that is a sight to behold. What a spectacular shot we just saw on the par 4 with a drive in 1. So a long putt there and just didn't read it quite right. 12 feet still to go. Good try, just didn't quite read the break, Frank.
It shouldn't be a problem, you'd think, cleaning up here for par.
And getting ready for the putt. Par for McIlroy, but you're just waiting for that moment when he hits that accelerator and pulls away. Now on to the 11th, and Frank, we are looking at a long par 4 in front of us.
We are indeed, and it's called shadows, but there is love in the shadows here. Hit it over that dune down there in the middle of the fairway. If you can get it there around the 300-plus yard mark, then the hole obviously starts to get a little easier. That second shot, you'd like to hit a little bit of a cut in here, but there's 2 levels to this green, so make sure you're on the right level where that flag is.
Let's see what McIlroy does now with his second. Well, this one should be safely on deck here. Superb shot.
Well, that's as good as it's going to get. There's going to be no worries about making that one.
This will be a birdie if it drops. Can't get them all back at once, but it does go in the right direction. Now at +4. Measuring 311 yards, the 12th, Frank, seems to offer an opportunity for a player to do something pretty dramatic here.
Yeah, it's called the Narrows. Really, it should be called the Temptation, because what player stands on a tee knowing he can reach and doesn't take up the gauntlet?
He just came over that one a bit, enough to tug it to the left, and plenty of work still to go. This is a pretty long putt here. You'd be happy to get this to within 2 or 3 feet. You really want to take the stress out of that next putt. Frank, you give the player credit here, really showing some fight.
Yeah, he lost his game early on, and somehow he's slowly putting the pieces back together. Chance now to get on a little bit of a run.
Well, that is agonizing.
Hit it.
Shouldn't be a problem here. Been a rocky road to this point. 4 over par on the round. On to the 13th hole here at Chambers Bay. It's a par 4, and they call this one Eagle Eye.
Yeah, dogleg to the right, beefy par 4. You hit it down to one of the widest fairways on the golf course. And then up in front, if you look at the middle of the green, you're going to see one bunker. Needless to say, that's got to be avoided.
Good contact, good result. Frank, you played in conditions all over the world. Here come the winds now. What's the mindset?
Well, this is really what separates the men from the boys. This is where you've got to tell yourself, and it's an advantage to you. Obviously, the scores will go up a little bit, given the conditions. But once again, this is going to suit the stronger player today.
You like the old phrase, swing easy when it's breezy?
Definitely when you're hitting it into a head breeze. But if down breeze, tee it up a little bit, try and ride that wind some more.
Just 5 feet left. All right, hanging in. That's a par and 4 over. Frank, this is the 5th par 4 in a row, and they're not easy. This one here at 14, really a daunting tee shot.
It is. That's why it's called Cape Fair. A true Cape hole in golf, Rich, is when you've got to decide how much you want to bite off when you hit across a slight dogleg. And this one, really, you're going to be rewarded the further left you can go. There is one little bunker in the middle of the fairway that you have to avoid. That's going to be 320 or so yards off the tee. This hole, 546 yards, you're going to see a variety of second shots, or the length of second shots here, determined purely by the bravery of the tee shot.
Frank, not close, but from that lie, not bad.
Oh, that's excellent. Seriously, given the conditions, Rich. It's that sneaky distance.
Well, you're not going to make that putt all the time, but you'd like to at least get it to the hole.
If he keeps putting like that, he's going to be an announcer in no time. It's a cruel game.
Not going so well for him. He has this for bogey. So he has that for bogey. I can't help but think that the double bogey back on the 9th hole, it appears, has taken him right out of his game. Frank, normally on a golf course, you don't want to spend too much time in the trees, with the trees, around the trees. But part of me wants to go up and hug this tree because he's all alone. It's the only tree on the whole golf course.
Well, I know you're a tree hugger, Rich. I really do. But at 246 yards, when they play this off the back tee at the US Open, believe me, nobody's hugging that tree. They're just trying to make 3.
Frank, he's missed the green here in regulation, but he still hasn't missed the chance to make the par.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's got this shot in his toolbox coming up. Oh, that was solid, Rich. This one's safely on.
Locked in on the read and the speed. Routine stuff for Rory. That's a par. Now to the 16th hole here at Chambers Bay, and Frank, it is a pretty short hole. What are the chances to come out of here with a birdie?
Well, you've just come off the short 15th. You can get on a little bit of a run here, providing you get in the fairway first. You're not going to have an overly long second shot here. But once again, this is a precision hole, a little bit like 15. This is a tabletop green, so you're going to have to be right on the money with that second shot.
But this one has a chance to be really good.
Oh, that's got to be 300 yards, isn't it?
Frank, what's the danger here on the approach to the 16th, considering the green is really pretty small?
Well, obviously it's a short par 4, so you know that the problem's going to happen up ahead, and that's exactly what it does. This is probably one of the smallest, narrowest greens at Chambers Bay, and you can see it slopes dramatically from left to right. That has to be taken into consideration with the second shot.
Just 2 holes left to play. Now a par 3, the 17th, 218 yards, and all sorts of trouble, Frank, down that right.
Well, if you weren't beached at the 16th, then there's a chance you can be derailed, which is what this hole's called, at 17. Difficult par 3. You can see the bunker there in front, and once again, wind conditions. This is going to probably require one of the best tee shots, especially in the closing stages of the US Open.
This is a cross-country special. Always 2 components to the long lag putt, the speed, number 1, and then the read. And missed out on that second part. Just a couple of feet. Chases that in for par to stay at 4 over. Now to the 18th hole. Frank, everyone wants to finish in style.
Yeah, the home hole here, once again you head back to just a wonderful view, and you realize that Chambers Bay was designed as a walking golf course, and it was designed to have fun and test every department of your game. 18 will do that. It probably gives you more trouble on both sides of the hole than any other hole on the golf course.
He has just hammered this drive here at the 18th, and now he is in a really good position to make a birdie here on the final hole. That was a big, bold strike, and now a chance for a big, bold move. Putt for eagle coming up. Really? That's the best you have? Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Frankie took plenty of time on this birdie putt. He looked at it from 3 different angles. He forgot one very important ingredient.
Yeah, pace. You can definitely fall in love with the line, even with approach shots as well, but obviously we see it more on putting.
So, Frank, as we put a wrap on the day, it wasn't his best performance, but there's always tomorrow in golf.
Yeah, you still got to keep your head high. Golf's a game that's going to be it's going to bring everybody to their knees now and again, but dream for a better day. And it could be just around the corner.
And there'll be a next time for us as well, partner. This is Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo saying so long for now.